What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope everybody out there is having a wonderful day. I tell you what, it is hot around here. We finally got a little bit of cloud cover today, but this week it has been scorching. Not necessarily temperature wise. I don't think we've got above 94, 95, but just stifling humidity. It's not cooling down at night. You wake up in the morning and it's just suffocating. It's just nasty throughout the whole day, and it's hard to want to get out here and do some stuff in the garden. We're going to try to get some stuff done this morning. I saw a funny post on Facebook from a teacher here locally that I know, and she said, you know it's hot when the kids are begging not to go to recess. So that's how hot it's been around here, just completely unpleasant, and I've had enough of it. I'm ready for it to cool off soon. Hopefully we'll start to see a little bit of break in the night temperatures in the next few weeks once we get into September. Fingers crossed for that. We got a few things we need to do in the garden today. I need to take care of this glass gem corn here behind me. We need to get some stuff planted in the greenhouse, and I also need to fertilize my pumpkins again. So let's get to it. So here's our 3 rows of glass gem corn that Brooklyn and the kids planted several videos ago. And this stuff came up fast and was looking good, but in the last week I've noticed, man, it's just looking rough. There's some disease, it looks like, on there, some insect pressure, something gnawing on the leaves, and man, it just started looking rough all of a sudden. I don't know if it's just because it's an heirloom variety and these rough conditions or what's causing it. But I came in here and sprayed it yesterday. Hopefully that will help. Maybe we just need to start spraying it earlier than we normally spray corn. And the plants are about a foot, 12 to 18 inches tall. So we need to go ahead and heal them and fertilize them. Brooklyn came in here yesterday and thinned them out for me. They were planted just a hair too thick for what I like for field corn like this, or actually popcorn. So we got them thinned out to about 1 plant every 8 inches or so. Now we always put down fertilizer before we're healing corn, throwing dirt to the corn there. And if you've been watching the channel, I've changed my corn fertilization regime this year, and it's worked pretty well so far. It worked good with our Yellowstone sweet corn, worked really good with this popcorn here that we're still waiting to dry out a little bit, waiting for those ears to fall over before we harvest that. So that program is, we put down at planting in the furrow before planting, we put down some of the Nature Safe 855, 1 big scoop per row, and then at healing I do the 855 on one side of the plant and do the Nature Safe 1300 on the other side of the row. So 1 scoop each, heal it up, and then we'll hit it with some fish emulsion in about, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks or so. And that worked really good on the popcorn, worked really good on my sweet corn. So we're going to stick to that plan and do it here. So let me go grab some of the Nature Safe fertilizer. We'll side dress, we'll get it healed up. Back's feeling a lot better. I can push a wheel hoe now, so we're going to get it done. All right. Got her side dressed on both sides and got them healed up. Hopefully with a little frequent spraying and some fertilizer there, these things will come out of their little funk here and get on going for us. Now let's head on back there to the greenhouse, where it's actually a little cooler than it is out here. So the greenhouse here isn't super busy right now, but it's about to get a lot more busy. We got a few things started in here. One thing started, me and Abram came in here yesterday and got these speckled swan gourds planted. I think there's 48 plants per tray there, 24 plants per tray, so 48 total, which should be plenty for that arch panel trellis. Probably have a few left over. Don't know what kind of germination we're going to get there, so we've got extras just in case transplants don't make it or seeds don't germinate. Got me a big bag of seed starting mix, or a big bale of seed starting mix. I went with this Sunshine Mix number 4. This is a product made by SunGrow. Got this off Amazon. It's a really good mix. Paid more for it than I really wanted to. I've just been busy with work and haven't had time to find a local nursery that can get me these big bales. So it is what it is. This will last us a long time, probably through spring. Got a bag of perlite over here, a ton of perlite. Got this off Amazon as well. That will last us a very, very long time, and that's what we use to top our seeds with when we plant them in trays like this. So instead of covering them with soil, we cover them with more perlite. Then over here on this side, we've got our ochre, our first round of ochre that we let the pods get really big, and we've been letting them dry in here. I didn't know if this was going to work or not, but it looks like it's working pretty well. Some of the varieties are drying faster than others. You can see this Jing orange here, those kind of brown stripe and cream stripe pods there. Those are nice and dry, so they're drying out. There's our velvet ochre that's drying out. I think that there is the Perkins long pod, and then this is some of that Ruiz ochre that's drying. So we've been leaving the curtains up here so it doesn't get too humid and kind of sticky in here. Have some good ventilation. It just keeps these pods here from getting wet from the rain, and just let them dry out slowly, and then we can harvest the seeds from these. And if you watched our fall planting schedule video that me and Brooklyn did a couple videos ago, we mentioned that the first things we wanted to get started was those gourds, and then we wanted to get these cool flowers started. So we got 4 different varieties of cool flowers here. These are flowers that you want to grow in the fall or the early spring. I would say with the exception of the marigolds. The marigolds seem to tolerate the heat pretty well. Not all these are cool flowers, I should say. But a couple of them tend to do better once the temperatures break a little bit. And yes, you could direct seed these, but we're going to transplant them because we're going to put them in rows in the garden. So we've got some snapdragon, some bachelor buttons, some calendula, and some marigold here. And we're going to use these PropTech trays like you see here. These are the bigger ones. Now I noticed that Greenhouse Megastore has some that are 10 by 20 size. They're a little smaller, and I may end up investing in some of those PropTech trays as well, just for when we don't need so many plugs or so many transplants. Also working on getting some more supplies for the greenhouse for stepping up things, which we'll do a lot of in spring with some tomatoes and peppers. So we'll be adding a lot of nice supplies here to the greenhouse within the next few months as we continue to work in here. So the first thing I need to do is go ahead and get some soil mix in this tray right here and wet it down, then we can plant our seeds. Now this sunshine mix here, this stuff is really, really fine. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here. It's got the perlite in it, it's got the vermiculite in it. There's no chunks or sticks or rocks in it. It's really, really high grade seed starting mix here. I was happy to find this online. Like I said, I did pay more for it than I probably should have, but it was a matter of I got to get something and I didn't really have time to go look around. So sometimes we just end up paying for convenience, and that's all right if you just have to do that. And this here is exactly why I want a dirt floor in here and not a plastic floor in here, putting down landscape fabric, because when I'm packing this soil in here and I'm done, there's not really enough on top of here to try to rake back in my cup. So I just kind of smooth it out like that, and a little bit falls on the ground. So I make a little bit of a mess when I do this, but it saves me time. I don't have to worry about catching all the soil, the excess soil. I don't have to worry about coming here and sweeping up the plastic. So that's why I like having a dirt floor. We got all 162 of those cells filled. Let me wet this down and we'll get some seeds planted. And I got to order me some water hose washers because this thing right here is leaking. But I can't do nothing about it right now, so we'll just have to deal with it. Just kind of soak this stuff in real good. This stuff can take a lot of water initially. We want to be careful and just kind of do it from above head, way up here, so we don't wash out our cells. That should be good there. Now we'll make us some little dibbles here. put our seeds in. Some people use a ink pen for this. Some people use a little stick or a pencil. I just use my fingers here. That usually makes a pretty good sized dibble. Set a seed inside. Go ahead and put our labels in here. We'll probably just split this tray up fairly evenly here. I gotta see how much seeds I have in each packet. But probably just try to split it up as evenly as we can here. Some of these I got 100 seeds, some of these I have 50 seeds. So I have to be a little careful to make sure I've got enough. And I have never grown snapdragon before, so this is a first for me. And it appears these seeds are microscopic. So we'll do the best we can here and try to get one seed per cell. Man, those things are tiny. It reminds me of celosia seeds, how small they are. Wish I could show you on camera, but I don't think my lens can focus in this time. Well, we're definitely going to have to thin those snapdragons, because unless you've got some tweezers and some real good glasses, there's no way to just make sure you get one seed per cell. So you just do the best you can. We'll thin those out later. These other seeds should be a little bit bigger, I believe. We shall see. Oh yeah, so these bachelor button seeds will be a lot easier to work with here. And this calendula is really, really good stuff. So you take the, it has some kind of anti-insect, or maybe I should say biological pest control properties when you plant it in the garden, kind of like standard marigolds. But this stuff, you can also make salves and oils out of it. They're really good for your skin. So we made an oil with it. We infused it in some olive oil. I believe it was olive oil. Maybe it was another kind of oil. But you can also use coconut oil and make kind of a salve out of it. So coconut oil, when it's cooled, will be a solid. When you heat it up, it'll be a liquid. So lots of good stuff you can do with this calendula here. And it's just a pretty flower to have in the garden in the fall. And we've had it make it through the winter before. It seems to be pretty cold hardy. So calendula, as far as I can remember, is what they call a Scottish marigold. And it looks a little different than your traditional marigold, which you're more used to seeing, which is a French marigold. So calendula, Scottish marigold, and then what you're probably more familiar to seeing is a French marigold. I've never grown this giant orange variety here. I'm really excited to see how this one does. The seed looks completely different on the French marigold as opposed to the Scottish marigold. And sometimes if I just have 4 or 5 seeds left, I'm really not trying to save those. I'll just double plant a few of these cells. That way we make sure we get a good tray full of plants here. So we got all our seeds down. Now we're just going to lightly top this with the perlite. I like to put enough on there so it covers. The seeds start mixing the seed. Oof, stuff can get dusty. But I still want to be able to see the divisions between the cells. So that's kind of my rule of thumb as far as how much I add here. And we just need to wet this down as gently as we can. So at least for the first little bit in this greenhouse, we're just going to be watering by hand with that little dram wand there. But I do intend to put an automatic sprinkler system in here for when we go out of town camping or whatever. I was looking online last night at kind of designing my own system, and it doesn't look too hard. There's there's a company called Netafim that makes these little drop down sprayers that cover like 2 to 4 feet. But I think I'm going to have to add, so in this greenhouse there's an additional accessory. You can add these hanging basket rails, and although I probably wouldn't use them much for hanging baskets, I'm probably going to need those rails on both sides to then have those emitters or those sprinkler heads hanging down probably to about right here. That way I can put them over where the transplants or trays are going to be, and I'm not wasting water, just watering this entire greenhouse, just watering the shelves here. I got to do a little bit more research, got to do a little bit more planning. I may have to add that accessory. But once I get water and electricity run out here, I'm going to be able to rig me a little automatic watering system for when I'm not around the house all day, and I can just put it on a timer, let it water them, you know, every maybe 4 or 5 hours or so, and that should work really well. But not going to do that right now. Probably maybe in the next few months we'll try to rig something like that. And I told y'all it was going to be a little bit cooler in there than it was out here, but there's actually a breeze out here now, but it's going the wrong way to run through the greenhouse. So it was hotter in there than I expected, but we're back out here now. Let's go check on our pumpkins and feed those guys. So here's our polar bear pumpkins, one long 60-foot row of them, and they're growing pretty good, still looking pretty healthy at this point. Now, last time you saw this plot, we had just put down those iron clay pea seeds, and you can see now they've germinated. We planted them thick in here. We want some good ground cover, and this is a cover crop intercropping experiment we're doing here. This could be an epic failure, or it could work out. We'll just have to see. I know that the nitrogen produced by these iron clay peas really isn't available to these pumpkins, but we're hoping the cover crop intercrop here will give us some nice weed suppression, some ground cover, hopefully give those pumpkins that come from those plants right there a nice little cushion or bed to sit on. We'll just hope that the pumpkins can outpace this growth here so they can kind of vine on top of it. I don't know if that's going to work, but we'll see. And hopefully the iron clay peas don't grow so fast that they inhibit any kind of pollination there. So completely an experiment here, but I like the way it looks so far. So we'll see how it goes. But we got to keep pushing these pumpkins so they'll be ready before Halloween. So the last time we fed those pumpkins, we used some of that Nature Safe 777, the corn steep liquor that's water soluble. It's a little messy, but we were able to get it in the injector there, and the stuff works pretty good. This time we're using some of this AgroThrive right here, and this stuff is made with corn steep liquor as well, but also made with fish emulsion. And I was talking to one of the AgroThrive reps the other day, and I wish I could remember exactly what he told me, but basically the way they formulate this stuff is it's a lot more biologically active already than your standard fish emulsion or your standard corn steep liquor fertilizer. And so you don't have to wait on things in the soil to break it down. It works a lot faster, and it also will work well in cooler climates where you don't have the heat to break down a lot of those organic compounds. Now they make this formulation here, which is a 332. They also make one that's kind of a bloom booster. I've got a jug of that over there. We may use some of that once these things start producing some blooms. We're going to go with this today. This is a liquid, obviously, so it's going to be a lot easier to pour into our injector and mix. If you're interested in any of these AgroThrive products, you can go to their website, use the code LazyDogFarm, one word, and you can get a 10% discount on this stuff here. So I don't really know how much to use. Y'all know I ain't much into measuring. Let me shake this up just a hair, and we'll just kind of eyeball it. Good thing about this kind of stuff, you don't really have to worry about burning the plants with it, but we want to give them a good jolt. And it kind of smells like a combination of fish emulsion and that corn steep liquor fertilizer as well. That's probably good right there. Give them a nice little punch. We'll see how they react to that. We can add more next time, or we can dial it back a little bit, but I think we're safe with that. So let me pour this into our injector here, and then we'll fill it up with water. Rinse out this jug here a little bit. Kind of looks like chocolate syrup, maybe just a hair thinner than chocolate syrup. There we go. I'll go ahead and fill her up to the top. And there we go. We got her flowing. The nice thing about this stuff being so dark, almost black, is that we can see it running through that line right there. So we know it's getting to those plants. So I hope you enjoyed spending some time with me in the garden today, getting a few things done before it just gets too blistering hot out here, too hot to do anything. And let me know what you think about my pumpkin iron clay pea intercropping back there. You think that's going to work? You think it's going to be an epic fail, or maybe just meh? So Let me know what you think, how that's going to go. I'd love to hear your predictions, or maybe you've tried it before and have some experiences with it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, ring the bell, like, and share. And we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.
Oh, farewell. By the beauty of your life,